yeah, so I've been in the industry. I actually fell in love with the dental industry about 15 years ago when I started a teeth whitening company called Bright White. And my background, I grew up in Silicon Valley. Actually had the entrepreneurial spirit from birth, right? I mean, I sold gumballs to my friends for a profit and ran a business. Most of the time I ate my own profits, but I had 2 paper routes when I was a kid. My parents made me save my money for everything I ever bought. So it really naturally made me an entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people make fun of how I pronounce it, entrepreneur, but it's all right. I have no problem with that. So fast forward, I mean, my dad was one of the founders of Quantum Corporation, and my parents had really nothing but 2 nickels to their name when they got married. They went to Florida State. They met at Florida State, drove across the United States in a Volkswagen Bug. My dad had a job in Silicon Valley. This was right in the, when Silicon Valley started. And then he was he was the original CFO for Quantum Corporation, and he grew it to be a $10 billion business. So kind of that real entrepreneurial, success story, but also, he's been called the Ward Cleaver. He was rated the top CFO in Silicon Valley, and he was called the Ward Cleaver of Silicon Valley, where he loves his kids and he loves his wife, and he's not like the Larry Ellisons and the other guys of the world, right? So in Silicon Valley, where good people can get ahead as well. You don't have to step on people to get higher. So that's kind of the values that I was raised with. We call them the Rodgers guiding principles, and we have principles that we guide our life by. And so fast forward, I was an athlete, so I was coming into high school. I always enjoyed sports, the team aspect of it, and things like that. I was 5'8", 130 pounds when I came into high school, and when I graduated, I was 6'4", 230, and ran a 4.6 40, and I was all state tight end, all county, all league, all league champion, discus, athlete of the year my junior and senior year. And it was just purely out of good old fashioned hard work, and I've kind of always outworked everybody around me. I mean, Garrett, you see that on my 1 a.m. And by the way, you didn't see that I was up at 6 a.m. working also, and I've been doing that all week. So so I enjoy work. That's, I guess, a big part of it as well. I enjoy what I'm doing, but my journey started originally with a product called Record Link. And my brother-in-law, who's an orthodontist, came to me. And at the time I was either working at Oracle or I was working at IBM. And I was an enterprise sales guy. So I sold like Apple, Cisco, Chevron. I sold, $3 to $5 million deals. In 2014, I was the top sales rep at IBM. And I started working with my brother-in-law to kind of look at the referral process from his referring offices. And this was back in 2003. So it was before the world was ready for electronic health records. Fast forward, we shut down the business in 2008. And then it's one of those things that was still in the back of our mind, kind of kept thinking about it, right? It's one of those like family conversations. And I remember like it was yesterday, one day it was a 2011 actually 2010 Thanksgiving. I was like, you know what? I'm done talking about this. I'm just going to do it. And at the time, I had a good job. but I always had that entrepreneurial spirit that I had from when I was a kid. Like, so I started my first software company when I was in college, and then learned some hard lessons. Right, totally failed at it. I have this is actually one of my, trademark brands. I love my dentist, and I always joke because I have a closet full of t-shirts, right? Closet full of failed businesses. Every time you start a tech company, you always got to do a t-shirt, right? And so I literally have like a part of my closet where there's like 6 different shirts of brands that I've created that,
Lessons learned.
They're all, lessons learned. We won't call them failures, lessons learned. And so now people come to me as an advisor to help them build businesses is kind of what I also enjoy doing. But we've got a couple of signature products. So Record Link is the core platform, right? And we built the product to be kind of like the WordPress for software development. So, and not to get too technical, but we built this huge API library of functions that we can build products on top of. So we can build, like we're building 3 products right now. And each of these projects, I mean, this whole entire analytics platform, this is costing the guy $15,000 to build this, and he's probably getting about $500,000 worth of software because of the API library that we built. So our database, there's another product. So we've got, quite a few different products, and I enjoy the reason why I'm so enthusiastic right now is that we're getting really close with a couple of these products to bring them to market. And also, we've got a lot of momentum with our main product. So the evolution of RecordLink, fast forward to the end of 2014, I was the top sales rep at IBM in Q1 of 2014. In October, IBM found out that I was running a company on the side, and they fired me. It was like it was the hardest thing I ever went through in my life. I was making $400,000 a year. And I look around the room, at my table, I've got 3 children, a wife, and a dog. And I kind of go into a bit of a hole, but, I threw some dirt on it and got back out there. And just like Ray Lewis, just like number 52 would have done. Don't be a pussy, you got to get back out there and do it, right? So, sorry, Jenna, that was inappropriate, but
No, you're fine.
you can imagine him saying that, right? So is that Ray Lewis, by the way? Is that okay? All right, good reference then. And so Patrick Lewis? No. Anyway, so again, I'm rambling a little too much there, Jenna, but I think some of the backstory is some nuggets of information that we can help present. Like, people don't want to hear about the success; they want to hear about the failure that brought you to success, right?
Yep.
And so I have plenty of those stories. If we want to tell them, I have no problem telling them, right? I've got no ego tied to it. It's just a matter of getting the product out there and making it all successful for everybody. So we've raised about $1 million over the last 10 years. The company officially was reincorporated in 2011 as RecordLink Incorporated in California. I was living in San Francisco at the time. A couple years later, moved to Arizona, found the right girl, just she happened to live in the wrong place, right? It's kind of my joke there. I miss San Francisco, but maybe not now. But anyway, so fast forward is, we've built 18 different software products. We've helped launch a lot of different businesses. Kind of if you count them, we've launched about 7 ourselves, and we've helped launch about 150 different products for other people. So, kind of like the marketing platforms that you guys are building. I mean, those are all things that are right in our sweet spot. So we help people plan, develop, and launch products. We kind of we meet people somewhere in their life cycle of building a product or building a company. And then we also have our own kind of core products that we're focused on as well. I run the Dental Innovation Show. It's a video show and things like that. And then we have a lot of products that are about 3/4 of the way built. And then we have a couple of products that are fully built that we're now, we have subscribers. The reason why we start with one click is, we're always looking for leverage in any kind of business. And we leverage the fact that a specialist has multiple GPs. So we sell to one, they sell to many, it gets that product out there, and then we can expand out to our other modules. And we've built it out to kind of look and feel like the G Suite of software. So I don't know how much more detail do you want? Is there anything in particular that you wanted to?
She has a lot of specific questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep working down my list then.
I'll stop rambling then. Let's get to your.
No, again, that was great information. So don't hold back. But yeah, yep. So next, I guess, can you tell me what is the benefit of integration? Just in your words, high level, what is the benefit that you want to express?
Yeah. So the benefit, I guess in my words, is it makes, we're always looking in the end, hopefully when you build a piece of software, you're building it to make it easier for your users, right? And integration makes everything easier. There's a little bit more, it's kind of like just about everything in your life. You put a little extra work up front, it saves you a lot of time on the back end.
Yep.
And so that's what integration does, right? So if we can pull the patient data over, it makes it easier on the patient because the patient doesn't have to fill out additional information when they, information gets exchanged from one place to another. So that's a big piece. Obviously, we have 100% happy customers on this product. So we've got a lot of case studies. In fact, I think we could do press releases and case studies, and that could take care of all of our content and all of our marketing. And I'm starting to reach out more and more to my customers to be able to do that. It hasn't been something that we've historically done a very good job of.
Actually, that's a good idea. That's good content.
But get specific to your answer. So the benefit of integration is getting having a singular point of data for our customers, so that makes it easier for dentists to use their products.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. We're dealing with like Swell. If you're familiar with Swell, Swell is a reviews platform. We built their integration for them, and what they do is every time they install, they say, hey, here's a new reviews client, right? And that dental practice wants to automatically ask patients for reviews as they're walking out of the office. We can automate that whole process. So it just makes it easier to do certain processes. It's easier to track reporting and analytics. Like for the marketing people that we work with, we can actually tie like a revenue number to a campaign. And for others, when we are doing like scheduling for some of our customers, the patient can, automatically and electronically schedule their appointment, and everybody wants to do that. But I would say ease of use. I mean, in the end, hopefully it all filters down to making it a better patient experience. But when I'm selling it, it's really about enhancing the products of the customers that we work with. And the first thing any dentist always asks at a trade show, and you can almost hear it as you're walking by booths, is, does your product integrate with my practice management system? Does it integrate with Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental? Half the time, they don't even know what that means, but they just don't want to have to enter data. Potentially data entry issues, any kind of, just it takes up additional time, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then talk to me more about your process specifically. Walk me through what someone can expect, a new client of yours.
Yeah.
And while you do so, compare it to what someone could expect from someone else.
So, yeah, and there's only 3 routes to go with this, right? At least at this point. There may be a few others that are popping up, but there's Sika software, which is basically you take the data that comes out of the dental practice management systems, you bring it into Sika at one time, and then you access the data through Sika. And what happens is if something happens to Sika or Sika owns the data themselves, there's no value for the brand. So, like if I'm Swell, take the reviews platform again as an example, for them to use, they actually came from Sika, right? And what they found was, first of all, Sika was a lot more expensive. It's a little bit less upfront, but it's a lot more over time. So, where we may charge like $20,000, Sika would charge $300,000. Ours is one-time upfront fee. Theirs is paid over a longer period of time. But Sika owns and controls the data. So you're just accessing it, and you don't have as much control over that. And security, potentially there's issues with security. More than anything, it doesn't follow the rules. So literally Dentrix and EagleSoft are suing Sika right now because Sika is not following the rules of their developer programs. And so that's a big one, right? So if we can get somebody to say, hey, Sika's getting sued by Dentrix and EagleSoft right now, that we definitely have a conversation to talk about.
Yep.
I don't know if you know Zanya Winans, but she runs a Golden Proportions Marketing. She gave us a really good referral talking to Patient News, another marketing company that uses us. And here's, I'll forward you guys this note, right? So there's Wayne, there's, anyway, basically she said it cost her a ton of money, ton of time, and in the end, going with us was, saved her like $300,000 or something like that. So,
wow.
I'll find that and get that over to you because it's a
so
good.
Yes, please do. So for your cost structure, though, so it's all up front. What happens with maintenance? What if something needs to be updated or something malfunctions?
Yeah, so then we give them 20 free hours of consulting. Most people
Okay.
never even use those 20 hours. This integration is so mature, and the products are so mature, and they don't put a lot into them. And if you understand, APIs basically mean that they don't break. When you build an API, it's like an agreement between two systems, and they never change that agreement. Even if they do something else inside their system, we're protected through that API. So it's rare that we have any issues or any maintenance things that come up, but we do give 20 hours of free consulting, and then it's a $150 an hour after that if they go over the 20 hours. And we have really good tracking. I mean, we use Hub Staff to track all of our projects and that type of thing.
Okay, and then what if they don't go through Sika? How is it if they
so the
just go
third
on their
option
own?
is they build it themselves. Yeah. So
Okay.
build, buy, or in Sika's case, it's lease, right? Because they're really just leasing access. Nobody wants to be a renter. They want to own their house,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then if it's someone else doing it, less experience, more time, more money.
Way
Yeah.
less experience. There's nobody that. Literally, the guy that is my programmer is the guy that built the API program for Dentrix. He works at Dentrix full time, and he works for me about 10 hours a week. So that's kind of, I mean, we get next level access that nobody else does. So.
And that's why you can do it so affordably, because you already have the blueprint for it.
Yeah, and what we do is we take a branch off of the source code and give people access just right to the actual source code, so then they can make changes if they needed to themselves. Rarely do they do that, but.
All right. So get back to that process. So they give you a call and they say, I got this new software. What's the next step there?
Yeah, so then we'll jump on a call. We'll show them, kind of take them through my standard overview. We really need three things. They need to join the developer program and get an API from Dentrix and Eaglesoft. And then we need to know what fields they want to synchronize. And then the third, so in other words, like, do you want appointments? Do you want patient data? Do you want first name, last name, demographic? And then the third is how often do they want to synchronize? Like how often does the sync hit? Those three things, and we can go back over the span of a weekend and build their entire system for them. Where it takes them, if they're to build it on themselves, this would take probably a year or two to complete their project internally with the 4 systems.
So then, is that a typical turnaround time? Maybe a week?
Yeah, it could be a week. I mean, most people, it's actually not us that we're waiting for; it's them, which is kind of typical with these type of things, right? So
yeah. Okay.
I need to jump in 2 minutes. Sorry, I've got a one-click referral demo I got to jump on, but.
Okay. Well, so you need to sign off in a couple minutes?
No, yeah, I've got 2 minutes, and sorry, I rambled a little bit. We can you want to set up another call for Monday, maybe?
Possibly. I'll start going through my notes. Scott, was there something you wanted to ask him before we signed off too?
Yeah, so I was testing out the logins that you sent, and I can get into the cPanel on Flywheel, but I can't get into the back end of WordPress with the credentials you set.
For Flywheel? Okay. You're talking about one click, or you're talking about DrDDS. Yeah, let me.
DrDDS, yeah.
Yeah, let me find that. Do you want FTP or do you prefer WordPress?
I'd prefer to get directly into WordPress on the back end, because that way I can take a look at the plugins. We like to utilize Yoast, so we may do a few things on the back end there.
And we've got, we used to have Yoast turned on. Okay. What is it? WP-admin, is that where?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'll send you over that. If you want to shoot me an email, Jenna, with the rest of your questions too, I can either record a video for you or type up my answers so you've got them.
Okay, cool.
That sounds
Awesome. Yeah,
perfect.
I know you got to run. I'm doing a program Tuesday night. I'll get you. I'm going to get with my team. We'll get some stuff over to you by Monday. Any other questions, Jenna? If you want to send over to Travis, that's great. And then get with me. I don't know how you're doing on the list. I'd love to get something out like Monday night. I'm getting Clickback set up, and I'm doing a program Tuesday night, so I'd like to do a blast out for that.
Yep. And Evan's working on that. He was working on stuff for it last night, and
perfect.
We were getting it organized for you. So
awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good day. Appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
You too.